Good afternoon, everyone. It's Bayou Mac here. I'm attempting my first ever live stream on my way to film my next full episode, the Old River Control Structure in the southern tip of Concordia Parish. And please forgive me if the quality is bad, because like I said, it's my first ever attempt. But I figured this would be a great opportunity to film a historic scenic route in America, the Great River Road. And for those of you who do not know, the Great River Road travels the entire length of the Mississippi River, all the way from Venice, Louisiana to where it begins in Minnesota. So yeah, very, very historic and very, very scenic along the way. But yeah, I'm currently on my way to the Old River Control Structure to take some shots for my next full episode, which will cover the Old River Control Structure. And the Old River Control Structure was a massive infrastructure project that the federal government and the Army Corps of Engineers came up with a plan for in the 1950s. Because by that point, the Mississippi River was dangerously close to changing course, and because it wanted to take a shortcut to the Atchafalaya. Forgive me. All right, mic's on now. But yeah, I'm currently on my way to the Old River Control Structure to get some shots for my next full episode, in case my mic was off previously. And as you can see, we are on the top of the levee now. You can see some, pan over and get some captures of the soybeans that have been planted here in the past month. And speaking of soybean planting, it's kind of rare for this time of the year, but we down here in Louisiana have been in extreme drought. We have been in D3 drought for a few weeks now, and the only ranking worse than D3 is D4, which is exceptional, and we were really close to reaching D4, but we've got a much needed rain the past few days. We got a big rain yesterday and some earlier this week as well. And please forgive me for the camera shape. My tripod's not really that balanced here in the truck, and the quality of this road isn't the best in the world, but it's not the worst either, so kind of give it that happy medium there. Come along a steep curve. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, as you can see, it's some wide open farmland here. Thousands of acres. And beans are coming along pretty good, and doesn't look like the rain has affected them too much, if at all, which is good, because sometimes too much rain can get them waterlogged and have to replant when, you know, the fields dry out, which don't want to do that. Usually your goal is to try to get everything planted in a good stand on your first planting. So yeah, just shout out to all the farmers, and you know, wish them luck and pray that they have a good crop this year. But yeah, the old river control structure was built this is a follow-up to my previous episode, which covered the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927, which was catastrophic for Louisiana and Mississippi. And there were a lot of lessons learned from that flood, and in the decades to come, the federal government took measures with the Flood Control Act of 1928 to address some major flaws from 1927 and try to prevent, a flood of that magnitude from happening again. So that was one reason, and two, the Mississippi River, like I mentioned earlier, was dangerously close to changing course by the 1950s and was making its way to start traveling down the Atchafalaya Basin and take a shortcut to the Gulf. And had that happened, it would have been a catastrophic blow to both New Orleans and Baton Rouge, both ecologically and economically. Economically, it would have basically rendered their ports non-functional because the river would have all but dried out, and two, it would have affected life for the cities and communities, downriver, and that would have been really, really bad too, obviously. So in order to prevent that, the federal government came up with the funding and the plan and the Congressional Act to get the old river control structure built, and they made it happen. It was completed in 1963, and the old river control structure, it basically coordinates how much water goes down the current path of the Mississippi River and how much they actually allow into the Atchafalaya Basin, which is about 70 to 30%. 70% Mississippi River, its current course, and 30% Atchafalaya Basin, it's the course it wanted to take. And it looks like some of that might have been drowned out there, which I still see some green, but hopefully it'll pull out of that and won't have to have any major replants there. Pan over a little bit there. Some grain storage tanks. Beautiful day today, a complete 180 from yesterday. Yesterday, which said May 1st on the calendar, but sure didn't feel like it. It was torrential rain all day, and it was about 55 degrees, was about as warm as it got, which is unusually cool for Louisiana for a daytime high this time of year. Yeah, like I said, even though it was cold and wet, the local farmers got a much needed rain, which was a blessing. Keep all the farmers in your prayers, and we have a good crop this year. Yeah, we love our farmers, so yeah, shout out to them. And now coming up here, you have the turnoff to go toward the small town of Monterey, Louisiana. Monterey is a very small town out in what feels like out in the middle of nowhere, but some incredible people live there. Very, very good people. So shout out to them. zigzag here. Gotta be careful. As you can tell by the panning that I've done so far, it's a lot of farmland around this area of Concordia Parish and Louisiana, and it's very, very lowland. Floods very easily if it's too much rain all at one time. So you have a lot of drainage and control structures of that size to control that. And another story is a lot of this land was cleared up in the early 1970s due to an extreme, like unprecedented demand for soybeans at the time. So, because a lot of this was forest and wetlands, and to compensate for the extreme demand and the high soybean prices, a lot of this land was rapidly cleared during that time and converted into farmland. And some of it, over the decades has been returned to, trees and conservation, but the majority of it is still farmland to this day, as you can see. And please forgive me for the camera vibrations. Like I said, this tripod isn't the most stable in the world, especially in a pickup truck. And also forgive me for the tire noise. I've got off-road all-terrains on this truck. It's off-road four-wheel drive. You gotta have those if you live in rural Louisiana to handle the mud and the floods whenever extreme weather hits. Yeah, we're prepared down here, so yeah, don't have to worry too much if you know what you're doing. But yeah, as you can see, it's very wet down here. Got some more beans to your left. Yeah, a lot of soybeans have been planted this year. Pretty decent amount of corn has been planted too. Just hadn't really seen any along this route yet. Yeah, I'm excited about doing this episode on the old river control structure to do a follow-up of episode 6, the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927. And I hope to have this full episode released either later this coming week or sometime next week. I'm sorry I hadn't been able to upload, full episodes like I was during the winter months. It's been a little busy this time of the year, but the reason I've been uploading a lot of shorts is because on this day, anniversaries I feel are very important for everyone to know, especially overlooked topics, and also it doesn't take nearly as long to make a short or TikTok video as it does to make a full episode. I can usually have them completed within a few hours. So, and also thank you all for tuning in to my episodes and the TikTok videos and the shorts. Your support means the world to me, and just yeah, shout out to all the fans out there who have been supporting me along this journey. Y'all have been incredible, and I never thought that I would be, a digital creator and an educator, but also to have this kind of a loyal fan base, especially just 3 months into this thing. So yeah, I don't know how I'll ever thank all of you for your support. Y'all have been truly amazing, and I'm just truly grateful. see that more and more people are joining, so apparently this is working. I don't know whether y'all can hear me or not, but the mic is on. I checked it, and that's Angelina grain. Angelina plantation is a major plantation outside of Monterey, and it is owned by Bill Gates himself along with other investors, and it's quite a large farm. It's I don't know the exact amount of acres, but it's, I think, anywhere from 25 to 40,000 acres. It's a lot, I'll put it that way. But yeah, Bill Gates is the most prominent owner, and just another, group of investors, all within Angelina Ag Company, the official name of the plantation. And give you a little history here. Back in the late 90s, I'm sure you've all heard of the WorldCom scandal, which was the largest of its kind at the time. The CEO of WorldCom owned Angelina at that time. That was one of his real estate investment holdings at the time, and it's since been sold off, and Bill Gates and his investors, and along with Oprah Winfrey and other big names out there, all came together, and they now own Angelina. So, and they also, along with that company, own the Louisiana Delta Farm south of Jonesville in Atchafalaya Parish, and also Chicago Mills in Tensall Parish, and both of those are major farms that were cleared up in the 1970s and made what they are today, and they're precision leveled and irrigated, and a lot of rice is produced on them, along with corn, soybeans, cotton, and your other crops. But yeah, a little history and facts on that. See, going through a wooded area now, as you can see, and these types of roads in rural Louisiana, you've got to be extremely careful, especially at night. During the day too, but especially at night, because deer can be projectiles on these types of roads, and they'll dart out right in front of you. It's like they always run toward the headlights instead of away from them like you're supposed to. But I don't know how a deer thinks. I'm not a deer, and I would run away from it, but deer think differently. I have been fortunate enough in my life to have never hit a deer, so knock on wood that streak continues. But I have known people who have hit deer, and it's not a very good thing, because one, it'll total your vehicle, and two, it can cause major injuries as well. So yeah, you got to be extremely careful traveling these rural roads, especially at night. Okay, we're back into the farmland. As you can see, some more wide open area there. And we got some good looking corn there. Hopefully it makes it good all the way to harvest. That crop has a lot of potential there if it can make it through the next few months. Some more corn corn on this side. As you can see, I'm taking my time here to be safe, so I can, you know, capture the scenery along this route. No hurries. Which coming up on another little zigzag here. Hopefully the sun glare isn't too bright for all of you watching. It is not too long before sunset, and I wanted to do my shots down here whenever the sun wasn't at its peak during the day. That can cause some extreme difficulties, you know, during the filming process. And I want to try to be as clearly seen as possible on camera so you can understand the content. Okay, so some sort of pop up. I don't know what that was, but anyway, I've got some, see a lot of that here down here in Louisiana. Your small rivers, your bayous, your lakes, plenty of those here in Concordia Parish too. And Concordia Parish is basically the crossroads between North and South Louisiana, because for those of you who do not know, Louisiana is like, I would say two different worlds, but I'm gonna say three different worlds, because you've got the northern half of Louisiana where I'm from, as you can tell by my accent, which is the Mississippi Delta, the like country accents. And then you got, you know, once you get south of Concordia Parish, you got Cajun country, and they have their own accent and their own culture, which is incredible. The Cajuns are incredible people, and if you watch, I actually, you know, did an episode covering their history and culture as well, and man, what they went through to get here back in the early 1700s was incredible. Just how they were driven out of their homeland in southeastern Canada and the New England area by the British, because they wouldn't go along with the British Royal Army. And they basically just packed up and just went until somebody welcomed them, and they, you know, ended up landing in Spanish Louisiana, and they were welcomed with open arms. So they blended their culture along with Spanish and French, and that's what you have today. And it's unbelievable, just all around, just incredible people. And if you ever get a chance to visit, you know, the tourist areas of Louisiana and South Louisiana, you'll be stunned at just the kind of culture they have. It's just remarkable. But yeah, you've got Cajun Louisiana, which is Acadiana, is the name of the region, and then you've got New Orleans. New Orleans is basically in a league of its own in Louisiana. Different culture, different accents, different politics, different everything. I mean, it's like a city just all on its own in Louisiana. based on what I've observed, you know, with people I know from New Orleans, and many of them I'm, you know, really close to, I have really good relationships with. It's kind of weird, but they almost sound like okay, are we back? Hope so. Okay. But yeah, New Orleans is quite a unique city, to say the least. But yeah, the accent there in a lot of ways almost sounds like, you know, the Northeast. Like I know one guy that he was, you know, born and raised in New Orleans, and he almost sounded like he could be from the movie Goodfellas. It was insane. But yeah, you know, be sure to, you know, visit New Orleans any chance you get. You know, it's a city you've got to experience at least once in your life. Even though and I'm gonna warn you, it can be very wild, but it's just something about it. You can't help but love it. And speaking of, the Saints appear to have had a good draft this year, so hopefully they'll finally be on the rebound this year after a few, you know, down seasons. And they were also aggressive in free agency, so yeah, I'm definitely rooting for them this year, and hope, you know, they have a good season and can return to greatness here in the near future. And then a little bit about my part of Louisiana. The town of Faraday is right down the road from where I live, only about 5 miles or so. And Faraday is a very small town, just a little over 3,000 people in the latest census. But Faraday is known for producing some very, very prominent people. You got Jerry Lee Lewis, Mickey Gilley, and Jimmy Swaggart. They were all, you know, born and raised in Faraday, and they're all cousins as well. But they, Jerry Lee and Mickey Gilley obviously hit it really big in the music industry and had a very successful career. And Jimmy Swaggart was basically a pioneer for being a televangelist, like Billy Graham and other prominent ministers. And also two evangelists, K. Smith, who was basically a pioneer in, you know, cable television back from the 1940s all the way to the 70s, through the 70s. You know, covered World War II and like the assassination of John F. Kennedy and Vietnam, and then a more recent prominent journalist, Campbell Brown, is from Faraday. You probably know her from her career with NBC and CNN and other networks. So yeah, Faraday is a very interesting small town as far as producing famous people. And supposedly it even has the nickname of more celebrities per capita than any other town in America. I don't know how true that is or not, but I have, you know, seen that label on Faraday. So yeah, and you got the Delta Music Museum, which is a neat place to visit if you're ever passing through. then you got the city of Vidalia, which is the parish seat of Concordia Parish. And one of the places we'll be seeing down here at the Old River Control Structure is the hydroelectric plant, which supplies the entire city of Vidalia with its electricity. So we'll be seeing that along the way. And across the river on the Mississippi side, you've got the very historic city of Natchez, Mississippi, which is the city I was born in, by the way. Way back in the day, but not that long ago. I'm not old, you know. I'm still a young guy, or I think I am anyway. But yeah, I was born in Natchez and spent my entire life on our family farm, excluding the 5 years of college. I did live in Shreveport for 2 years and Ruston for 3 years when I attended Bossier Parish Community College and Louisiana Tech University. But other than that 5-year period, I've been in outside of Clayton, Louisiana. So been, I'd say, extremely blessed to have grown up in such a rich area, you know, as far as history goes and culture and geography, etc. I mean, it's literally sportsman's paradise down here. And just to give you some an interesting fact about Clayton, it's a very, very tiny town. I mean, it's one of those that if you're driving through it, if you blink, you'll miss it. No stoplights anywhere in the town, other than just a caution light at the main intersection of US 425 and US 65. US 65 is a good portion of the Great River Road, you know, headed north from Clayton or from Faraday. We're just on the Louisiana Highway 15 portion of it now on this journey. Got some more shiny soybeans down that way. Tell they enjoyed the rain that we got. God, I just wish this camera wouldn't shake so much. I gotta say, the quality of the road is really not bad at all, considering these rural routes are often you know, pushed to the side as far as you know, the urgency of maintenance. But yeah, this road is actually not that bad. So I've seen them far worse, and they'll take a toll on your vehicle if you're not careful driving over them. Try to it's kind of a trial and error deal here for me right now. So like I said, this is my first ever live stream on TikTok, or not just TikTok, anywhere. You know, I haven't done it on YouTube yet. And it's like we got a levee maintenance there. You got the levee board that patrols the levees and makes sure that they're in, you know, excellent shape, because when the river's high, you do not want any weakness in the levees, because even when the levees are very firm, you get seepage water, and if the seepage water gets too out of hand, that's what can cause the levee breaks, and we definitely don't want that, because we would have a repeat of 1927 if that ever happened. We were really close to having a repeat of that in 2011 when the river got up to record highs. Like, it was like at least 10 feet above flood stage in Vidalia. The entire Vidalia riverfront was underwater at that time. You had hotel and the hospital along the river. It was underwater. But thank God the levees held up during that one, because I'm gonna be honest, I was very nervous during that time, because even where, you know, we're located, you know, to the north, you know, north of Clayton, it was threatening us, and we were on the high side of the Tensall River, which is, you know, that area of Clayton. And even our side was threatened, had the levee broken. But like I said, thank God it didn't. It's like we may have some. Yeah, you can tell that this is kind of where the crossroads begins for, you know, North and South Louisiana. It looks like we might have some sugar cane down there. And we got some oil production as well. Several pump jacks out there. Yeah, Louisiana has been for a long time. Even though Louisiana has been diversifying its economy here in recent years, especially in the tech industry, Louisiana is getting in on the AI boom. And just an hour up the road from our farm is where Meta is building its massive data center in Holly Ridge, Louisiana. And it's one of the largest data centers in the world being constructed as we speak. And I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out whenever it's completed. I'm hoping it provides some, you know, long-term economic benefits to rural communities in the area, and it's not just a construction boom and then, you know, you won't ever see much of it. Okay, we're coming up on the Sidney A. Murray Jr. Hydroelectric Power Station now. So we're coming up on the Old River Control Structure, just a few miles more down the road. Yep, here it is. This is the hydroelectric plant that supplies the city of Vidalia with its electricity. Major setup here. Yep. Yeah, it's multiple structures in this area here to not only, you know, for the hydroelectric plant, but the Old River Control Structure itself. I mean, it wasn't just a small, you know, project. I mean, it was major. See, the road's a little bumpier here, but Old River Control Complex right there. And I don't know if you can see it yet, but that's the structure itself. Little ways down there. See, we got some marshes along the river here as well, some lowland. Say it was a smooth drive down here, which I kind of expected it to be on a Saturday afternoon, but it was very pleasant. Yeah, Old River Control Structure, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers from the New Orleans district. But yep, this complex right here is basically what I'd say saved America, because not only would it have been a catastrophic blow to Louisiana had the river changed course, but it would have severely affected shipping, transportation all across the country as well. I mean, your states upriver, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, and even the Ohio River, like Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana, Illinois, they would have all been affected had that happened, had they allowed the river to continue its natural course. But yeah, the federal government said, that would have been bad for business, so they took action and built this thing to say not today. Fort Knox landing ramp. Yep, there she is right there. The structure itself, the heart of it. Across it, get a drive across slow. Yep. Auxiliary structure. We'll go a few more miles down the road so I don't just abruptly end this live stream right here on site. Kind of do a little fade out deal, I guess. But yeah, going back to the Meta Center construction, I'm thinking about sometime this summer maybe doing a live stream, a road trip up there to show all of you the progress of that project so far. And we went up there in December. We had to go to Rabel, and on the way back took a little detour to just check out the site. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. Even the times I've been to Texas and other places like New England, California, you name it. I've never seen a project of that magnitude. It just blows my mind that it's in the most rural part of Louisiana. But like I said, I'm hoping that it benefits the rural communities in the long term for years and decades to come, and it's not just a temporary construction boom and then it just be a few jobs, for the long run, and especially, if it's all, outsiders and, no locals hired. So just hope that